Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. David Feldman-Makrias here, and today what we're going to talk about is sandbox revenue. Now, this is a term that I really haven't seen anywhere else, so I'm going to define it myself, but I thought it was pretty relevant in the digital marketing space and any sort of digital service that one might be providing because it's important for agency owners, young entrepreneurs, aspiring business owners to be able to understand in this ever changing world of internet advertising. So let's just, without further ado, let's just get right into it. I got this useful doc for you here that we're going to compose together. And one thing I want to talk about as far as sandbox revenue is it's closely related to being able to figure out whatever service that you're trying to scale with, right? So services are changing very, very rapidly in the digital marketing agency landscape. The core principles I think still are sound, right? We still have a lot of the same things going on. So like, let me define. If we look at YouTube Shorts, for instance, basically, deriving the contextual video from TikTok, YouTube Shorts is an actual instance of that. Facebook Stories, Instagram Reels, so on and so forth. So that could be a potential service that you provide for clients. And with these platforms evolving so quickly, with their native formats evolving, here's another example: Google Ads switching over to Performance Max year and a half ago. In the way that that is constructed, that could be a total segmentation of a service, right? SMMA is constantly, social media marketing agencies are constantly having to learn and optimize with new content, new trends, whatever. So really what sandbox revenue is for is it's regarded to help agencies, especially young agile agencies in the digital space, try to learn and test new services with current clients. Now, I've heard a lot of different methodologies for agencies, right? I came from a background of full service creative agency, meaning we offer every single service under the sun, right? And I think that there's benefits and drawbacks to it. So let's talk about full service. Full service agency. So this is creative, Google, social media, under Google, or we'll call it search engine marketing, better umbrella term. We have, content marketing, reputation management, email marketing, video production, traditional advertising, including newspaper. We can call it print, which would be newspaper, billboards. Yeah, billboards really isn't print. Newspaper, let's say, we could say magazines, billboards, television, cable, broadcast, radio. What else we got? OTT, over the top, right? That's a little more digital. But I mean, these are just, I can keep going on and on and on, but these are just some of the services, right? Full service agency, I don't even have to define it as full service agency, guys. It's really just potential services for marketing agency to offer. It's just a short list. And the list can go on and on. You can make your own agencies. Or not, yeah, you can make your own agencies. You can make your own types of services. You can make bundles, where you bundle SEM with SEO, PPC, and then you bundle reputation management and email blasts, depending upon specific campaigns that you're trying to do. So there's all these different combinations, concatenations, all these different variations of what you can do and how to put it together. Oh, I forgot one of the biggest ones, web design. Hello. So with all of this, I like the term sandbox revenue because a lot of sandbox revenue is basically like playing in the sandbox, right? Any website developer or website designer will be familiar with the sandbox site. That's basically a site that you go and you create that's very very similar to a live site, and you go and play and tweak and do all that sort of stuff. So sandbox revenue, I'm going to apply the same concept that you would take for a sandbox site and apply it in a revenue standpoint for agency owners, freelancers, digital service providers, and online marketers, because it's basically testing different products. And the reason you may want to do this is because when you limit yourself to only a couple of products, you limit your scalability. And also, when you limit yourself to a couple products or a few different products, you also attach yourself to one ecosystem. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about kind of explain further the benefit of having more than, let's say, three services that you provide. The benefit is going to some of the benefits are going to be, you can scale. You can scale out more services. You can upsell easier. And one great thing is you can become integrated, fully integrated with your client's business. If you're a very, very good relationship manager and you emphasize more on building and establishing long-term relationships with clients, then I think that having multiple services is a great way to go in. When you build these relationships, I mean, here anything can change at any specific time, right? But I think that it's harder to scale, you know. Well, let me talk about one thing at a time. When you're building the client relationship and management, I think that's something that's very, very overlooked in the agency space at this point in time. I think that there's a lot to be said. Again, I always go back to the perceived value and actual value. That perceived value really, I categorize relationship building under that, right? Where the actual value, you're delivering the tangible result in whatever you quantify. Now, with businesses where it's harder to directly link a quantifiable result to your marketing efforts, that's where the perceived value actually becomes more important. And that's where I think the relationship building is extremely valuable. Now, the benefits of having more than three services, you can scale out more services, you can upsell easier, you can walk your clients up, the service ladder, if you will. You can become fully integrated with their services, so they look to you for everything, which is great. Sometimes it can become cumbersome because they look to you for everything, so any little thing that goes wrong or any little nuance that isn't right, in their digital world, even if it falls outside of your scope, that can become a nuisance, but they do look to you for everything. So let's talk about some of the cons. Some of the cons, clients look to you for everything, even when their butt itches. No, just playing. But sometimes, sometimes it can become a nuisance, right? And it's harder to scale when you're trying to, fight fires with clients. You know, I'll say harder to scale in client volume. You know, I'll say easier to scale Easier to scale client monthly recurring revenue. Monthly recurring revenue. You know, single throat choke concept. That's more of you become fully integrated. When they have a situation or when they have a thing that they want to do, they just go to you, which is awesome. You are their point person. And I've developed relationships in different industries as this type of person. And it is nice because you do become close with them. You become fully integrated with their business. It's great. Now, I know that other agencies have a hard time scaling with this because it's hard to become an expert in everything. Expert in everything. But marketing's easy, right? I mean, we say that it's not rocket science, but it has become a lot more techy as we've moved in the last, more digital sphere, especially with the push from COVID over the last 3, 4 years, and definitely over the last decade. So it is hard to become an expert in everything, but I look to you can hate him or love him. I look to Elon Musk. He has a very very successful um, rocket company and a very very successful electric car company. Those are two different things, and he became an expert and uber successful in both of them. Now there's bandwidth, right? Everybody has their own capacity, but that is a option. I don't think it's not something you shouldn't entertain, right? But it also depends on what type of person you are, what you're trying to provide, so on and so forth. Um, I'm going to say benefits of having X, more than a few services. So those are some. So again, what are we talking about when we get into sandbox revenue? Well, sandbox revenue Sandbox revenue. What is it? What are we talking about? Why don't we put this at the top? Sandbox revenue, like what I talked about earlier, takes the example of a sandbox website where basically, move my face, basically we are testing different methods of services, results, client expectations, etc. Why is this beneficial? Well, it allows you to grow and not remain stagnant in the ever evolving digital internet marketing landscape. A little wordy, but hopefully you get the gist. Sandbox revenue is a category of your revenue. Let's make that too. As an agency owner, freelancer, online marketer, sandbox revenue is again, it's a category of your revenue. In a service-based business, revenue is really getting paid by clients. That's what it is, right? So, for example, let's put an example in here. For an example, your agency sells Google Ads. Google Ad services. Formatting drives me nuts. I get so crazy on formatting. So, example, your agency provides the following Google Ads services. Okay? You do PPC, synonymous with, here you can do PPC, paid search marketing. You're not even doing SEO. You're only doing Google Ads. You say, you know what? I want to be a Google Ads agency, and you get clients, and you become successful, and you do all that jazz, and you get really, really good at Google Ads, which is awesome. And that's another point I want to put on the benefits of having, no, the cons of having more than a few services. Hard to become expert in everything. You lose out on getting really, really good at one service or a couple services. You really, really, you lose out on that. But let's say we're talking about this example. Your agency provides the following: PPC, paid search marketing, Google Ads services. Okay, great. Now, here's the problem with that. When Google, which happened and is going to happen again in another 2 months, makes a dramatic shift, right? A lot of businesses and campaigns and Google Ads methodology changes, shifts, and might impact your business pretty negatively because you won't be able to scale your clients the way you thought you could, or it all changes and then you got to relearn Google Ads and maybe it doesn't work out the way you want. You're attaching yourself to one service, which is, it's, you're putting a lot of eggs in one basket. That's like having one client. Well, if that client gets mad at you for whatever reason, then you're going to be freaking out because all your income is with that one client, right? So let's continue with our example. Your agency provides the following service: PPC, paid search marketing, Google Ad services. Well, in the last so many years, and really, I think we're past the YouTube golden era, but YouTube is really, really big, especially for advertisers at this point. YouTube is a part of Google Ads, right? So, but also YouTube also, what am I trying to say here? YouTube is different because it comes in the form of content production, video production. It's not just writing little text ads and keywords. It's actually creating videos. So your classic Google Ads services, if you started a Google Ads agency in, I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's completely different now. We have different campaign types, so on and so forth. And a bigger emphasis needs to be put on the second largest search engine, which would be YouTube. Now, if you're a classic Google Ads agency, though, you might not be set up to create. I'll say this: if you are a classic PPC agency, um, you may not be able to fulfill video production or graphic design production, because that never used to be, it didn't used to be as important in Google Ads. It was all about search campaigns and shopping campaigns. Well, that's going away. We always had display campaigns, but now all these automated campaigns across all the different networks, such as Performance Max, requires different types of actual ads. So when you lock yourself into one service or one specific type of service, you may have to alter or grow, and that's where some of those cons come in of doing that. So Sandbox revenue comes into a point. So let's say your core service is managing shopping ads inside of Google Ads for e-commerce clients. This is your core service, right? You charge maybe a monthly retainer plus, let's say you charge a monthly retainer plus a, I don't know, percentage of revenue share growth. Maybe that's the way you've structured your agency to be able to scale. So an example, if I had a client that was spending $5,000 a month in Google Ads, and let's say we charged them a 20% management fee, that would be $1,000. Plus, I get 2% of whatever revenue that I help them increase. So let's say they're getting $15,000 a month from that $5,000 a month spend, but I increase them to 20,000, then I get 2% of that, which is not much, $400, or 2%, which is $100. So then I make 1,100 instead of 1,000. Right? Did that math add up? You guys get the point. It depends on the structure. Now that's your core service, right? That's your core service. And again, I'm just kind of constructing an example from scratch. Now, if we talk about a sandbox service, because the nature of Google Ads has changed, now maybe you want to start YouTube, short video production service, whatever you want to call it, video production. Let's not make it crazy. You want to do a video production service, and maybe that's where you manage fulfillment of a content creator, creating a video for your client and then sending you the video. You handle that fulfillment. That could be a way that you do it. That's something I'm currently exploring now, because good video content for e-commerce brands, a lot of individual e-commerce brands, especially when they're in beginning stages and scaling, are not set up to do video. They have other things to do. They don't have time to get a content creator in there. They don't have time to actually designate someone's time to film specific content. They don't have the bandwidth to do all that stuff, nor do a lot of them have the salary cap to be able to bring people in to do that. A lot of the time it's the business owners or just somebody's second job to be able to try and, oh yeah, they'll make some video content. I've heard that so many times. And you know what? I don't blame business owners. It's tough to get that done. But being a Google Ads service agency or having a core service of Google Ads, then you're limited. You don't have that YouTube capability. So offering this service, maybe that you haven't done before, that you want to get into, you can go to your client and say, look, I've done some research. I see that a lot of companies charge between this and this. I'd like to charge you maybe the same here, maybe a little bit less. I'm getting into this service. Let's pilot it together, and then let's see what happens. Or you can even do a value add. Nobody likes to do value ads. Everybody wants to just make a crap ton of money right away and say, no, I'm going to charge you $3,000 for this one video, and that's it. I'm not a big fan of that. I like value ads. I like teaser value ads too. Like, I made this one video for you. It's 15 seconds. Here you go. In order for me to make more, I need to charge you this amount, and I'm going to use it in these campaigns. What do you think? And having that existing client relationship, giving them that little value add, that little nugget, so they can actually see and conceptualize what you're thinking, what you're talking about, what you're proposing, then that makes it a lot easier. So that's where I incorporate this sandbox revenue, right? It's basically a sandbox revenue, sandbox service. I'll call it sandbox service revenue. Yeah, that's the idea. So in this example, right? In this example, I'm going to do video production. I'm going to do video production, and I'm going to prepare a 15-second video as a value add to my current client. I'll tell them how much more benefit it would be to have longer videos made, and how that could potentially raise brand awareness and utilize within a service that I already provide, make it better, right? That's what I would do. So with that, here's a little 15-second, here's the video. It's pretty basic. This is what I'm proposing. This is what I want to do for you. And then when I do that, this is what it's going to turn out like. Here's the tangible deliverables, and let's pilot it together. It's going to be this amount of money. You could do that on a monthly reporting call or by whatever your recurring reporting calls are. If you don't have that, you should. But this is a great way to test out new services. Let's organize this a little better. It's a great way to test out new services. It's a great way to see if you actually like doing something. It's a great way to keep you relevant. Your benefits, Sandbox services. Great way to test out new services. Great way to upsell clients. Great way to keep your agency slash scope of work relevant, so on and so forth. We can make a lot of different arguments with that. And it also blocks you. It doesn't block you, but it allows you to grow on your own terms while keeping within your scope of work, because I think that's one of the big deals too. You got to keep within the scope of work. If you're trying to be, if you're a PPC agency and then you want to do email marketing, okay, you can do that, but they're two different things. So if you're not set up to do that and you just kind of jump in right away, then I don't know. I don't think that it's going to go super well unless you have some sort of action plan or you can include that within your scope of work. Um, the reason why I call this a sandbox service and sandbox revenue is because here's another benefit on your financial review for your company slash your own money. On your review of that, you should allocate, easy to allocate a percentage of your business that you don't directly count on. What does that mean? So on a service-based business, we charge and get the money and all that good stuff, but there are certain services that I believe one, is more exploratory, which is your sandbox, but also when it's a sandbox service, I don't know if I'm going to keep that yet. I don't know if I'm going to continue that service for the client yet. I'm testing it, you know. You don't really want to say that, oh, I'm going to test this out and I don't know if I'm going to keep that. That's not the frame you want to have, but it's a pilot program. And usually clients, because you're working directly with business owners, are more entrepreneurial and they understand you want to test new things and blah, 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 blah. But when you're looking at a financial statement or a financial review of your agency, then you want to be pretty careful on how you organize income. And I think breaking out income into like a core service and a sandbox service, your core services should be, again, throwing percentages out there, 60 to 70% of your revenue. That should be your core services, right? Sandbox services should not really exceed 20 or 30% because, at least initially, because you don't know how they're going to impact. You don't know the labor. There's all these things you don't know about the service that is in the sandbox. So another benefit is allows you to figure out what you don't know. There's the quadrant. You know what you know, you know what you don't know, you don't know what you know, and then you don't know what you don't know. This is really you don't know what you don't know, right? So it allows you to figure that out, allows you to test it, allows you to see the labor, how much time you need to spend doing this service. Is it worth it? You can project and make projections and do all this stuff, but you really don't know until you do it. And this allows you to make a little bit of money doing that. So really sandbox services and revenue, I wouldn't put more than 30%. It's a little high. Maybe 10%, 5%, 2%, more like that. If you're just starting out, I think it's going to be a larger portion of your overall revenue and your overall services because you're trying to figure things out. You're throwing spaghetti at the wall. You're playing, right? You're playing. So that'll be larger. But as you get more refined and more mature as an agency, or more mature as a freelancer, independent contractor, an online marketer, then your Sandbox services, the percentage should diminish, and that way you get more into your core services. But still a great, great, great tool and great philosophy and mindset to think about to keep your business fresh, to keep it relevant, and to keep you growing. So I will link this document just on these notes in the description. I hope this gave you guys some value, and if it did, I'd love a thumbs up. If you disagree with anything in here, please let me know in the comments, and then we will speak soon. Thank you guys so much, and talk to you later.